We see Weiss, known as the villainous noble, standing confidently as if he's about to lord it over everyone around him. Our boy Weiss is suddenly confronted by a mysterious woman, tied up in a way that makes you wonder what kind of twisted game he's playing. This dude Weiss, who's been through some rough times, seems to recognize a beautiful girl in a compromising position, and his eyes narrow suspiciously. Meanwhile, Weiss is utterly confused, wondering how he ended up in this bizarre situation, only to be told he's now the villain from a school fantasy game. Weiss looks around, bewildered. He's clearly not sure what's happening, but his expression says he's about to figure it out. Whoa, Weiss mutters. I was just playing a game and now I'm staring at a tied-up girl in a maid outfit. What the hell is this? Our boy Weiss, who's known for tormenting Lilith, can't help but feel a flicker of recognition when he sees her. Weiss' face contorts as he tries to piece together the bizarre turn of events, realizing he's now the villainous character in a school game. Suddenly, Weiss realizes he's the infamous abusive noble from the game, and his expression darkens as he absorbs the news. A friend explains the plot of the game to Weiss, detailing how he's become a tormentor and ally to the Demon King. Weiss is visibly shaken by the revelation of his character's dark past, his eyes narrowing as he absorbs the details. So this is Lilith, the maid, Weiss thinks, remembering the game and the way he treated her. Why would I do something like that? Weiss quickly unties Lilith. To such a cute girl, he mutters, but he's clearly debating whether his sudden change of heart will seem suspicious. Weiss, showing a softer side, gently heals Lilith's neck injury, his expression softening for a moment before it hardens again. I did it, Weiss exclaims, proudly showing off his newfound healing magic but quickly backpedals, insisting it's just practice and nothing more. We see a heartwarming yet unsettling moment where Lilith gushes her gratitude to Weiss, thanking him for her newfound obedience. But wait, did she really need this push to become so compliant? Lilith, in a rare moment of vulnerability, admits she's been acting like a spoiled brat up until now. She's determined to change her ways, but is Weiss actually proud of this transformation? Meanwhile, Weiss' butler is a bit taken aback by the sudden shift in his master's demeanor. "Young master, you actually complimented the food," he says, sounding both relieved and confused. Lilith is now treating the food with care, acknowledging the perfect seasoning. "Young master, you're growing up," she teases, while Weiss' father looks on in wonder. Weiss' father, who's been a silent observer, is thoroughly impressed by the change in his son. Weiss is truly remarkable, he says, though it's clear he's unaware of the real Weiss underneath. A new servant enters the scene, looking concerned. "Those poor girls," she mutters, clearly aware of Lilith's previous treatment. "I'll make sure to handle this one properly." Weiss, in a rare moment of introspection, decides he needs to change even more. "If it means avoiding ruin, I'll do whatever it takes," he thinks, his determination unwavering. Weiss reflects on the upcoming entrance exam for the Noble Academy. "I'm obligated to attend at 15, but if I lose to the protagonist, my future might have been different," he muses, his resolve firm. A mysterious figure, likely the protagonist, watches Weiss train. "Even if it takes every ounce of my strength, I'll avoid the path to ruin," they vow, their eyes narrowing. The protagonist gives Weiss a stern look, challenging him to take this seriously. S-rank adventurer, MTTKAOTA, doesn't have a moment to waste, they say, pushing Weiss to his limits. Weiss, despite the exhaustion, refuses to break. "If you want to be called a loser right after enrolling, go ahead," he taunts, pushing back against the criticism. The protagonist finally allows Weiss a break, though it's clear they're testing his limits. "In that case, take proper rest," they say, their authority unwavering. Weiss, now more composed, nods in agreement. "I understand," he says, his determination clear as he sets his sights on his goals. The protagonist, a formidable figure, steps in to train Weiss, demanding discipline and precision. "This is the stance you're supposed to take," they bark, pushing Weiss to become the best. Weiss, under the harsh tutelage, is being molded into a formidable warrior. "Originally, I was supposed to appear at the end of the game, but now I'm here," he thinks, embracing his new role. Weiss is handed an item with mysterious writing on it. Lilith, ever the supportive friend, rushes to explain its meaning. "Diligence," she says. "I'll do my best to the point of dying." Lilith then explains the noblesse oblige game, a super high difficulty challenge that can only be cleared with constant practice. Weiss, determined, vows to prepare properly or face the consequences. Weiss starts his day with rigorous training, including sword forms, muscle exercises, and endless running to improve stamina. He acknowledges the importance of diet in his training regimen. Weiss trains from morning till night, repeating the same exercises over and over again, pushing his limits to the brink. Despite the intense training, Weiss manages to keep up with his grueling schedule, thanks to Zeb's support. 2 weeks in, and he's already showing signs of improvement. 3 weeks later, Weiss has finally gotten used to the physical training. He decides to call in the magic teacher, hoping for a kinder instructor after Milk's strict methods. Weiss meets his new magic teacher, Milk Avias, a renowned S-rank adventurer and master swordsman. Milk, however, is not exactly the kind instructor Weiss hoped for. Milk introduces himself and immediately challenges Weiss's expectations of a soft teacher. Weiss, now used to the harsh reality, braces himself for more intense training. Milk, known as a genius magic swordsman, starts the lesson with a strict approach. Weiss can't believe his luck, another tough instructor. Zebes, overhearing Weiss's complaint, tells him to suck it up. Milk, sensing Weiss's frustration, decides to make things even tougher. Milk pushes Weiss to channel his magic powers more efficiently, adding another layer of difficulty to the already grueling schedule. Weiss, exhausted, wonders where Milk's kindness is. Milk explains that consistent training is the only way to increase mana for magic use. He pushes Weiss to repeat the exercises until they pass out, no exceptions. Weiss, still full of openings, realizes the importance of practical training. He gets his hands on a punching bag to improve his form and technique. Lilith supports Weiss with healing magic, urging him to do his best. Weiss, now a changed man, questions how a lazy boy like him can work so hard. Despite the challenges, Weiss's transformation is clear. He's no longer the lazy slacker he once was, thanks to Lilith's unwavering support and his own determination. We see Weiss reflecting on his past life, where he was a lazy, apathetic shell of a person who would immediately run away from challenges. Now, he wonders if he's truly changed or if he's still the same person who gave up easily. Meanwhile, it's been 2 months since Weiss started his rigorous training. The progress he's made in such a short time is remarkable. Lilith, his mentor, is impressed. She points out that Weiss achieved his goal in just 2 hours, which is quite an improvement from his past self. Weiss questions if this is what Lilith meant by teaching him gently. He's starting to understand her methods better. Lilith mentions the ratio of carrot to stick in his training routine. She notes that there's more stick than carrot, which is what Weiss expected. Lilith reminds Weiss that the training is strict to make him stronger. She adds that he probably gets plenty of encouragement from others. Lilith brings Weiss lunch, calling him cutie patootie. She explains that she's the one wielding the stick, while others provide the carrot to keep him motivated. Lilith emphasizes that everyone supports him so he can do his best. She makes sure he doesn't forget the importance of their support. Weiss realizes that his achievements are thanks to everyone who has been there for him. He sees how their support has made him stronger. Weiss thinks about all the people who have helped him, like Zevis with meals and Lilith by his side. He wouldn't have gotten this far without their cooperation. Weiss reflects on his past, when he only thought about himself and no one supported him. He realizes that what he needed was a mix of love and harshness to grow. Weiss declares that he won't live for himself anymore. Instead, he wants to show everyone his improvement and ensure Lilith and others who helped him aren't left behind. Weiss vows to not just survive but thrive, both for himself and for everyone who has supported him. Lilith sets the next goal for Weiss: 4 hours of continuous training. She pushes him to keep going until he reaches his limits. Meanwhile, Weiss is surprised to find himself in an unfamiliar territory, surrounded by girls. Looks like he has a fun date ahead of him. We see Weiss arrive at the League Belt town, a notorious place where the security is as lax as ever. Milk Sensei warns him to be wary of the dangers lurking around. Meanwhile, Weiss reflects on his training journey, noting it's been 3 months since he started. He's been assigned a practical test in this city, but he's unsure who his opponent will be. Looking closely, Weiss can't shake his nerves. He thinks about Lilith and feels determined to protect her, yet he's worried about the upcoming fight. This dude, Weiss, catches the eye of a group of thugs. One of them, a wannabe gang leader, sees Weiss as a challenge and decides to put his skills to the test. The League Belt town is known as a den of thugs and criminals. Weiss is on high alert, knowing he has to protect Milk Sensei and Lilith at all costs. Weiss senses a strong killing intent coming from the thugs. He's not sure if it's just his imagination, but he's ready for whatever comes his way. The thugs start taunting Weiss, urging him to step outside and face them. One of the thugs, a wannabe gang member, steps forward and challenges Weiss to a fight. The Bolden brothers, notorious for their criminal activities, are identified as Weiss's opponents. They've been ignoring the law and bribing the military police until now. Milk Sensei reminds Weiss that real combat is a path he must take someday. He suggests it's better to face it now rather than later. Milk Sensei reassures Weiss, saying he'll be there to help if things get dangerous. He believes Weiss has the determination and confidence to handle this. Lilith, who was supposed to be backing Weiss up, disappears, leaving him alone to face the thugs. Weiss knows he has no choice but to fight. He's determined to cut off one of their arms but is wary of the 3-to-1 odds. Weiss thinks back to Milk Sensei's teachings, reminding himself to stay focused and not panic. Weiss feels betrayed by Milk Sensei's trickery, but reassures himself that help will come if needed. He's ready to face the challenge head-on. Our boy Weiss is practically starstruck, spotting someone he thinks he saw in town earlier. His excitement is palpable, and he's practically foaming at the mouth. Seriously, who does that? Weiss then introduces his new friends, a band of thieves who were just hanging out in the alley. They seem to take pride in the fact that they just chill and shoot the breeze instead of getting into fights all the time. Lilith, ever the voice of reason, looks on with a mix of concern and amusement. She's probably thinking, "Here we go again, Weiss." Weiss, in his typical Weiss fashion, starts giving a lecture on the importance of catching your opponent off guard. You can practically hear the crumpling of his lazy attitude as he gets into battle mode. He's really hitting his stride, dropping some major wisdom on the importance of being proactive in a fight. Even a master of martial arts or magic can be taken down if they're caught off guard. Weiss seems to be channeling his inner sensei. Meanwhile, Weiss' rival Vincent is standing there, clearly not impressed. He's the type who's all about taking action and making decisions on the spot. His expression says it all. Lazy Weiss, what now? Weiss is deep in thought, reflecting on his usual indecisiveness and lack of action. It's like he's suddenly hit by an epiphany. From now on, no more procrastination. Weiss is determined to change his ways, becoming more proactive and decisive. He's ready to prove that he's got what it takes to be a leader and a hero. Back in the alley, Weiss is analyzing the situation with military precision. If he had entered the alley prepared, he would have had the upper hand. He's all about moving first and catching his opponents off guard. "Full points for me," Weiss declares, clearly proud of his tactical brilliance. He's not just a lazy bum anymore, he's a master strategist. Weiss then turns to Lilith, giving her a playful apology for scaring her earlier. He's got a cheeky grin on his face, and Lilith just rolls her eyes. "Hey Lilith, is that blood on your clothes?" Weiss asks, suddenly concerned. He's a bit of a drama queen, but he's got a soft spot for her. Lilith, however, is quick to brush it off, telling Weiss it's just his imagination. She's got a knack for keeping him grounded when he gets too cocky. Meanwhile, the police show up, arresting more than 20 members of the notorious band of thieves. The story is about to take a dramatic turn, and Weiss is right in the middle of it. The bandits are in pretty bad shape after the fight, but thankfully, no one's seriously hurt. Weiss and Vincent work together to take them down, and the notorious Bolden brothers are also in custody. Looks like things are about to heat up for our boy Weiss. You see, a letter of thanks and a cash gift suddenly arrive at the Vincent family household, leaving everyone completely baffled. What the heck is this about? Meanwhile, it's been a year and 6 months since Weiss started his intense training. The growth is overwhelming, but it's also starting to wear on him. Weiss hits the training grounds day after day, no longer collapsing from mana exhaustion or running out of stamina. He's come a long way, but there's still a long road ahead. "I can detect enemy presence through the walls now," Weiss proudly declares. "Sensing the mana flow through my body has really helped me grow." Lilith, his mentor, speaks about the 4 elements of magic, lamenting that Weiss has a hard time with Milk Sensei's rigorous training. "That guy is even worse than the Boudin brothers," Lilith grumbles. "Milk Sensei is a demon, but Weiss-sama's talent is extraordinary." Lilith marvels at Weiss's growth, noting that his talent would have never blossomed if he remained lazy. She's surprised by his diligence in working hard. "You've truly become admirable, Weiss-sama," Lilith praises, but then Weiss starts hitting her with a wooden sword in mock retaliation. "Stop breaking my nose with that wooden sword already," Weiss yells. "You've been practicing magic behind my back, haven't you? Show me what you've got." Lilith reveals she can see special elements like light and dark, in addition to the 4 basic elements, much to Weiss's surprise. "Why did you keep this a secret?" Weiss demands. "If possible, I wanted to show you after it was complete. It's still incomplete, but now that we're watching, let's perfect it." The fruits of a year and a half of hard work are evident as Weiss's magic begins to take shape. Weiss stands proudly, his magic nearly complete but still a work in progress. "Ah, my bad," Lilith yawns. "Weiss-sama, did you stay up late? Fatigue from yesterday is still showing, isn't it?" Weiss completes his original magic, combining light and dark elements to create a spell that deals continuous damage to enemies while healing allies. He's exhausted but triumphant. Our boy Weiss grumbles about needing more training to level up his mana capacity. Lilith, ever supportive, decides to wake him up with a bottle of strong booze. But wait, there's a hiccup in her plan. As Lilith moves with the stealth of an assassin, Weiss can't help but notice the hidden guards of the Vincent family watching from the shadows. "Weiss!" he hears a voice call out. Cynthia, Lady Violetta's daughter with her stunning red hair and piercing eyes, steps into the scene. She's the game's main heroine, and Weiss hasn't seen her in a long time. Cynthia greets Weiss with a cool demeanor. "Long time no see, Weiss." Weiss looks like he just got done grinding some goblins. "What's wrong?" Cynthia asks, knowing full well that Weiss was the most hated character in the game. Cynthia, a Vincent family member, reluctantly attends the gathering, never expecting to encounter Weiss. She's conflicted about the past and her present situation. Cynthia tries to keep her composure, reminding Weiss that it's still before enrollment and nothing has happened yet. But Weiss can't help but think about the previous Weiss he used to be. Cynthia is taken aback by Weiss's appearance. "What on earth are you doing here?" she asks, trying to recall their past. Weiss can't forget what happened back then. Cynthia's past actions still sting, but he's trying to move forward. Cynthia remembers the past with a mix of anger and disgust. She feels she could die from the sheer shock of seeing Weiss here. This is the worst moment she could attend the party. Weiss sincerely apologizes to Cynthia, acknowledging his past actions. "I am truly regretful," he says, hoping for some form of forgiveness. Weiss never thought he would bow down to apologize in front of others. He hopes this act will help lower his downfall and get closer to Cynthia, but he knows it's time to leave before things get worse. Cynthia, a well-bred young lady, warns Weiss about the consequences of getting too close to her, referencing the tale of Icarus and Daedalus. She knows their paths will never cross again. Weiss Vincent, now a changed man, prepares to leave the gathering, acknowledging the potential danger in his pursuit of Cynthia. Cynthia asks Weiss if he'd like to dance, catching him off guard. "Behind, behind," Weiss whispers, realizing he's been caught in a moment of vulnerability. We see a chaotic scene where someone is shouting about oiling up "Lil Boy" and waiting another month, completely ignoring the context and adding to the confusion. Meanwhile, Cynthia is sipping tea and enjoying the lovely weather, completely unaware of the drama unfolding around her. Looking closely, we see the narrative shift to Weiss, now reincarnated as a villainous noble, setting the stage for his engagement with Cynthia. Weiss' father invites him to a formal dance, a pivotal moment that sets the ball rolling for Weiss' unexpected engagement. Cynthia knows about Weiss' intense daily training, a rumor that's spreading among the nobles, making things even more complicated. Weiss is caught off guard by Cynthia's mention of an attempted assault, a past incident he's desperately trying to forget. Cynthia's sudden reminder of their past interactions leaves Weiss flustered, but also intrigued by the unexpected turn of events. Weiss is in shock after Cynthia's sudden departure, leaving behind a letter from his father about an engagement dinner. Weiss is in a panic as he realizes Cynthia is coming to his place today, completely unprepared for his father's sudden plans. Cynthia is trying to stay calm while preparing for the dinner, but the thought of an arranged engagement is weighing heavily on her. Weiss is actually happy to have tea with Cynthia, a far cry from his usual lazy self, but the stakes are high as this could alter the future. Lilith appears, reminding Weiss of his need to maintain a perfect distance from Cynthia to avoid changing the future's course. Cynthia brings up Weiss' past declaration of love at first sight, a moment that seems to have slipped Weiss' mind. Weiss, caught off guard, tries to make amends with a sincere apology, revealing his softer side. The tension builds as Weiss is startled by Cynthia's noble demeanor and her unexpectedly warm personality, a stark contrast to the original story's rapid romance. Cynthia's heart meter is on the fritz, oscillating wildly as she grapples with her feelings for Weiss. She's determined to lower her affection for him, but her feelings are already skyrocketing. Lilith is caught off guard when Weiss lets out a pathetic moan. She fills his teacup, trying to cover up the awkward moment. Weiss' heart meter is in overdrive as he and Lilith discuss his arranged engagement. He's still figuring out his feelings, but Lilith keeps things light. Weiss' dad gives him the thumbs up, secretly proud of his son's growing maturity. But Weiss is still a handful, and his dad knows it. Weiss' overprotective father is in full dad mode, cracking jokes about Weiss and Cynthia. The dad is all about making his son happy, even if Weiss doesn't quite get it yet. Weiss is confused when his dad mentions an engagement. "What do you mean by an engagement?" he grumbles. Weiss tries to wrap his head around the idea that his dad arranged his engagement with Cynthia to make him happy, not for political gain. The dad was always absent, so Weiss is still trying to figure it all out. Weiss' heart meter hits a new low when he realizes how much his indulgent parenting affected him. He's on the path to villainy, but the engagement changes things. Weiss is on high alert when he notices Lilith's absence. He's worried something's wrong and chases after her. Weiss is determined to address Lilith's sadness. He knows she's upset about the unexpected engagement, and he's not about to let her suffer. Weiss is all business, threatening Lilith with death as punishment for her sadness. He's being overprotective, but also apologetic as they return to the mansion. Weiss reflects on Lilith's support. Without her, he'd still be his lazy self, unsure of who he is. Weiss chases after Lilith, who is clearly upset. He's determined to talk things out, even as she tries to escape his grasp. Lilith is caught off guard by Weiss' sudden concern and protective behavior. She's touched, but also overwhelmed by his unexpected affection. Weiss calls out to Lilith, acknowledging her importance to him. He reveals the truth about the engagement and the servant system at the Noble Academy, showing his protective side. At the Noble Mavic Academy, Weiss is gearing up for his enrollment, but with a twist. Only high-ranking nobles can have a servant. He has a special request. Lilith will be his personal servant, showing his trust and determination to keep her by his side. Lilith, confused and intrigued, questions Weiss's intentions. "Does this mean you're seeking me?" she asks, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Weiss confirms, "You will chase after me forever, won't you?" Weiss starts to lose consciousness, panting heavily. "No, it's okay. If you insist on chasing me, I understand," he says, his voice barely above a whisper. Lilith, now Weiss's appointed mistress, looks ahead to a cliff. "From now on, I will serve Weiss-sama," she declares, her tone serious and resolute. Weiss, still breathing heavily, nods weakly. "Weiss-sama." Lilith reassures Weiss, "Please be at ease, Weiss-sama. I will do my best. Our involvement will remain a secret." Cynthia, overhearing their conversation, smirks. "It's a secret love, isn't it? Involved with Cynthia and Lilith," she muses, her eyes narrowing in amusement. The entrance exam approaches, and Weiss is prepared, though his mind is still reeling from recent events. "All right, the entrance exam is almost here," he thinks, trying to focus. Weiss teases Lilith, his eyes twinkling. "Hee, you're making me blush," he chuckles softly. Lady Cynthia, a formidable presence, challenges Weiss. "Do you think that's sufficient to enhance the quality of your magic?" Weiss, undeterred, smiles confidently. "No, Miss Sensei, I can still refine it further," he asserts, his determination unwavering. Weiss gives Lilith instructions. "Lilith, lower your magic output a bit more. Balance it evenly," he commands, his tone firm yet caring. Lilith adjusts her magic, her focus unwavering. "Understood," she replies, her voice steady and determined. Weiss reflects on the chaos that's ensued, from his engagement to Cynthia to his secret romance with Lilith. "Thanks a lot, Papa, for making all this so complicated," he mutters, exasperated. Weiss decides it's time for practical sparring. "All right, let's call it quits on the basic training and move on to some practical sparring. Have you ever sparred with either Lady Cynthia or Lilith before?" he asks, curious. Things are getting complicated. Lilith and Cynthia have joined the training, asking Milk Sensei to train them as well for the upcoming entrance test in a few months. Weiss explains that Cynthia is more than capable of passing with ease, but she wants to support him academically. He reluctantly allows her to take the test with him. As for Lilith, Weiss originally planned to have her as his attendant, exempt from the test, but she insists on participating. Weiss tells Cynthia and Lilith to face each other and fight, emphasizing that he expects them to go all out, despite their relationship. The tension is palpable as they prepare to face each other, and Weiss seems to expect them to start without needing a formal signal. Cynthia moves with incredible speed, her legs infused with magic, making her movements skater-like and unpredictable. Weiss looks on with a mix of frustration and disbelief as Cynthia dodges his attacks effortlessly. He's clearly not impressed by the display. Cynthia apologizes for her counterattack, explaining that her high-speed movement turned a light tap into a more forceful blow. Weiss seems unimpressed, but Lilith steps in to heal Cynthia. Lilith stands ready, her presence commanding as she prepares to face Weiss. She's been his constant support, and this is their first sparring session together. Weiss is visibly shaken by Lilith's prowess, realizing how prepared she is despite her maid status. He's determined not to let his guard down. Lilith's healing skills are on full display as she quickly tends to Cynthia's minor injuries. Weiss is bewildered by Lilith's efficiency and speed. Weiss reluctantly agrees to fight Lilith, though he feels a sense of duty rather than enthusiasm. Lilith is eager, ready to prove herself. Weiss admits to himself that he can't afford to underestimate Lilith, who's proven her strength time and time again despite her role as a maid. As Weiss faces off against Lilith, he feels the pressure mounting. He's determined not to let his guard down, knowing the stakes are high. The intensity of the sparring session is clear as both fighters focus intently on each other, their movements fluid and precise. Weiss is momentarily distracted by the intensity of the situation, his mind racing as he prepares for the challenge ahead. We see Lilith's face light up with realization as she locks eyes with Weiss, her movements suddenly clear and precise. She lets out a breath, acknowledging that seeing through Lady Cynthia's high-speed movements wasn't just a fluke. Lilith's thoughts echo as she observes Cynthia's skill. She's only just begun learning magic, yet her speed is far superior to mine. She also has knowledge of swordsmanship. I need to take this seriously or I'll be toast. Meanwhile, the scene shifts slightly, but the tension remains palpable as the action unfolds. Weiss, our boy, is using his original magic, a combination of dark and light elements, creating an absolute barrier and dark eye. With his defensive magic, he's holding his own against Lilith's speed. Weiss is completely defenseless for a moment, letting go of his wooden sword to cast his magic with both hands. He needs to get out of the circle quickly, but the timing is critical. This is Lilith's only chance. She decides to take the opening and engage in close combat, her movements fluid and precise as she tries to break through Weiss's defenses. The panel shifts, showing the intensity of the battle as blows connect and magic sparks. Weiss taunts Lilith with a smirk. Good, no holding back, huh? My original magic combines the permanence of dark magic with the protection of light magic. Absolute barrier on top of there's that. With a confident tone, Weiss continues, even if my body can't keep up with Lilith's speed, by making full use of my dark eye and absolute barrier, I can keep defending against her attacks as long as my mana holds out. Lilith's magic is quickly cancelled by Weiss, leaving her dizzy and disoriented. She crashes to the ground, her eyes wide with shock and disbelief. Cynthia, ever the support, rushes to Lilith's side, offering her an advanced potion. Are you all right? I gave her a rare one, you know. Drink more, she urges, looking at Weiss with a mix of concern and admiration. Weiss muses about the effects of his magic. When this opponent enters the dark magic move circle, all of these debuffs are inflicted on them. I believe that's why Lilith still has relatively little mana drained. Weiss continues to recognize the potential within the circle, granting enhancements to his allies and weakening his enemies. The more enemies within the magic circle, the stronger I become. The scene pauses momentarily, capturing the moment of realization and the aftermath of the battle. The tension builds as Weiss stands victorious, the magic circle dissipating around him, leaving Lilith and Cynthia to assess the situation. You see, it all starts with Weiss, who's suddenly overcome with a bizarre moment of clarity, as if he's breaking free from a long, dark spell. Meanwhile, Weiss stands there, mumbling to himself about reincarnation and how he's finally free to say what he's always wanted. It's clear he's been bottling up some serious stuff. Looking closely, we see Weiss confront Lilith, who's been his support system for over a year. He's grown a lot since he was just a lazy kid. Cynthia and Lilith join the training, but as the days pass, tensions simmer between Weiss and Lilith, who's been replaced by Cynthia's influence. Finally, the day arrives for the Noblesse Magic Academy entrance exam, where Weiss and Alan cross paths, setting the stage for a showdown. Weiss, ever the smooth operator, brings a young girl to the exam, claiming he's grooming her for his harem. Talk about a power move. At the academy, Weiss is a sight to behold, arriving with two stunning women. The place is buzzing with the arrival of this notorious noble. Weiss encounters someone he clearly recognizes, but the interaction is awkward, with Weiss being the first to break the tension. As they enter the exam grounds, Weiss is spotted by everyone, including those who recognize him as the infamous abusive noble. Who knew Weiss was such a mystery? A student approaches Weiss, giving him a fake apology. But Weiss isn't buying it, and his reputation precedes him, making him a real standout. Weiss, now focused on changing his image, trains relentlessly and has finally arrived at the entrance exam day. He's ready to take on a certain man. Alan appears, ready to support Weiss, adding another layer to the drama unfolding at the academy. Weiss and Alan, now friends, exchange a simple yet meaningful moment, promising to do their best at the exam. As the warning bell rings, signaling the start of the exam, Weiss and Alan rush to get into position, their bond stronger than ever. Cheryl, Alan's childhood friend, catches up with them, adding another character to the mix. The tension is palpable as the exam begins. We see Weiss hesitating to reach for Alan's hand, filled with an unbearable sense of unease. Why is this happening? Meanwhile, Weiss thinks to himself, sure, my goal today is to defeat Alan in the exam, but after that, I plan to keep my distance. But why can't I shake this restless feeling? All of a sudden, Weiss' thoughts turn dark as he mutters, I want to crush him. Not just here, but everyone. I want to crush them all. The instructor, looking annoyed, explains the rules of the combat test. The winner is the one who either knocks their opponent out of the ring or makes them surrender. I'll step in if things get too dangerous. As everyone changes into their uniforms, Weiss' thoughts continue. If you pass, you'll get a brand new uniform in your size. Still, it's impressive that they managed to prepare uniforms for every examinee. The text on the wall reads, Noble Academy is the most prestigious educational institution in the kingdom. Anyone who can't keep up is expelled. Weiss' eyes narrow as he thinks about the lazy guy who managed to pass. The instructor announces, Next, examinee number 909, Weiss Vincent, and 907 Alan. Rain starts pouring down, and the instructor orders everyone except those currently in a match to move to the spectator seats. Weiss and Alan face each other in the rain, and the instructor says, Let's make it a battle, Weiss. You better not lose. Weiss starts the battle, using his dark heal ability to shield himself from the rain. Alan charges at Weiss, but the dark shield blocks his attack. Weiss looks frustrated but determined. Weiss's expression changes as he starts to understand the source of his unease. Since earlier, what is this feeling? Weiss's eyes narrow as he prepares to use his full power against Alan. This is because of your inner weakness. After the exams, Weiss's butler, Zevis, asks him and Alan what exactly they did to Weiss during the exams. Zevis is shocked by Weiss's performance. Who would have thought that Weiss Vincent would break all previous records in every single exam? We see the headmaster of the Noblesse Magic Academy, Gilles, talking to someone off-panel about Weiss. Gilles is clearly agitated and wants answers regarding Weiss's strange abilities and upbringing. Meanwhile, Darius, one of Weiss's instructors, tries to justify Weiss's exceptional scores at the academy. He explains that Weiss didn't break any records but tied for first place last year, and that he provided basic training and meals to support him. Darius continues, explaining that he fed Weiss lots of protein, milk, and other nutritious foods. He's bewildered by Weiss's sudden growth and abilities, wondering if the headmaster has any explanation for it. The scene shifts to a more relaxed setting, where Darius is seen drinking alcohol. The headmaster, Gilles, confronts him about his drinking, and Darius mumbles that Weiss nearly died during training, causing him to let his guard down. Gilles speaks directly to Alan, another character, mentioning that Weiss had a talent that Alan trained him to use. It's clear that Weiss's abilities have caused friction and jealousy among the instructors. Darius, with a hint of sarcasm, accuses Gilles of being jealous because he lost to Weiss in a serious match. Gilles is frustrated and warns Darius to stop spouting nonsense. Gilles demands that both Darius and the headmaster stop arguing. He assures them that Weiss's enrollment is secure and that they should be concerned about his future growth, not his past actions. The headmaster speaks about Weiss's change in character, noting that he's no longer consumed by his abilities. Weiss is pushing himself to become a stronger and more courageous individual, which is a significant shift for him. Everyone takes a moment to reflect on Weiss's progress, and the scene transitions to a more formal setting. Chloe, another instructor, welcomes the class and introduces herself as the new teacher in charge of Weiss's group. She's excited to begin teaching them. Weiss, now calm and composed, greets the class and the new instructor with a sense of determination. As the new term begins, Weiss stands confidently, ready to take on the challenges ahead. The scene briefly focuses on Weiss's face, showing a mix of determination and resolve. Returning to the day of the exam, we see Weiss defeating Alan. It's clear that Weiss is no longer the same lazy and indulged youth he once was. Flashbacks reveal that Weiss's battles with Alan have been intense, with Weiss growing stronger each time. Despite the challenges, Weiss never gave up, and his resilience has paid off as he finally defeated Alan by a landslide. We see Weiss staring at his points with a mix of shock and confusion, wondering if this is some kind of cruel joke. Meanwhile, the instructor announces that everyone has been granted a base of 1,000 points, but Weiss has a whopping 2,000. Weiss looks baffled, questioning if doubling his points is unfair to everyone else. He's clearly struggling to wrap his head around this new system. The instructor, rather than explaining, suggests that experience will help everyone understand better. Weiss rolls his eyes, muttering to himself. The instructor hands out wooden swords and sends the group off to the training grounds, where a combat test awaits. Weiss is told that anyone whose points hit 0 will be expelled on the spot. He's starting to feel the pressure, wondering how long he can stay in this game. The instructor sets up a mock battle, challenging students to fight until someone's points reach 0. Weiss clenches his fists, determined to stay in the game. Weiss's former classmate Louis is watching from the sidelines, amazed by Weiss's high scores and potential. Little does he know, Weiss is about to face a major setback. Weiss' former classmate, Louis, has a teaching license at the Noble Academy, trying to pass the time by brewing tea. Weiss can't help but feel a twinge of envy. We see a flashback to Louis' past, where he was the golden child of the academy, excelling academically and gaining popularity. Now Louis is expelled, a stark contrast to his former glory. Weiss can't help but feel a mix of pity and determination. Louis' expulsion is a harsh reminder of the stakes. Weiss is determined not to let this happen to him, but the road ahead looks rocky. Louis is now expelled, a fallen star in the Academy's history. Weiss is left to wonder how he'll avoid the same fate. Meanwhile, Louis is utterly crushed, left to deal with the consequences of his actions. Weiss can't help but feel a sense of urgency. Weiss is left to ponder his next move, determined to keep his points up and avoid unnecessary actions that could disrupt the delicate balance of the Academy's rules. We see Weiss, our boy, sitting down to a meal, looking genuinely surprised by how delicious it is. He's musing over how everything's gone haywire. His fiancée arrangement, Louis leaving early, and now dark emotions bubbling up inside him. Talk about a chaotic dinner. Meanwhile, Lilith is deep in thought. Ever since meeting Alan, she's felt the original Weiss inside her urging her to get aggressive. But now, she's conflicted. She wants to crush everyone, but knows that if she gives in, she'll end up hated, just like in the original story. Tension is mounting. Weiss looks at Lilith and says, "Want to crush them all." He's surprisingly okay with it. Lilith, on the other hand, seems a bit unsure. "Thank you for the meal. It was delicious," she says politely, even though the atmosphere is tense. "This is the Noblesse Magic Academy, remember," Weiss reminds Lilith. She's been too kind lately, and he's actually started to see her in a new light. He warns her that in a world where it's crush or be crushed, she can't afford to show mercy to her opponents. Weiss is laying down the law. Weiss is puzzled. No, there are plenty of other ladies left," he suggests, offering her another bowl. Lilith, however, isn't interested. "I've had enough," she says, leaving the rest. Weiss, though, is more resolute than ever. "If we choose to stand in a world of competition, we must be ruthless. I'll support you no matter what." Louis, the ever-present figure, steps in with a diplomatic suggestion. "Since you're my fiancé," he says, "you should at least have the spirit to knock everyone else down." He's trying to get Weiss and Lilith to come to terms with the harsh realities they face. "Oh right, Weiss-sama," Louis continues. "There's also the idea of a coin toss. If you can't decide, leave it to fate." Weiss, caught in the chaos, seems open to the idea. "If I don't know what's going to happen from here on out, maybe I'll stop trying altogether and let this coin decide everything." Louis, ever the host, insists, "I put a lot of effort into making this. Please eat it all." It's a small moment of normalcy in an otherwise turbulent scene. Louis flips a coin. On one side, a dragon symbolizing strength. On the other, a depiction of the kingdom's castle. He's making a serious choice, trying to fight against his impulses and get along with Alan. Heads or tails, this coin could change everything. Weiss, our boy, drops the coin. "Even after getting beaten to a pulp, I managed to enroll," he says, a mix of pride and weariness in his voice. The tension is palpable. "I'm glad," Weiss admits, "because I wanted to see you again." It's a moment of sincerity amidst the chaos, but it feels like there's more to it. "That's probably more accurate," Weiss muses. "Actually, I wanted to fight you again." The underlying aggression is clear, but there's also a hint of something more. Alan, ever the wild card, pipes up, "Got any more pot au feu?" It's a small moment of levity in an otherwise tense scene. Someone, likely frustrated, yells, "That's enough." The scene is teetering on the brink of another explosion. "Chris Schlessel expelled," a voice announces, adding another layer of drama to the already chaotic situation. The tension is palpable, and everyone seems on edge. We see a chaotic scene where poor Karuna Kianish and Layman Cudavire are expelled, leaving everyone in disbelief. Meanwhile, a mysterious severed head-like object is discovered, causing confusion and panic among the students. Our boy Weiss, ever the opportunist, gets 6 more Rials expelled today. He playfully teases Alan, promising to flank Cynthia from both sides and draw Lilith's attention. Weiss' declaration to crush heads and tear scenarios to pieces shows his ruthless side, hinting at a darker path ahead. As Weiss pushes his limits, he pleads for help, worried about a girl counting the days until her own expulsion. The future seems bleak. Translators and typesetters work diligently to bring the story to fans, but we're back in the action now. The match ends with Team Weiss victorious, advancing them further in the competition. Hooray for Weiss! Chapter 9 begins with a new focus on the Scouts, intensifying the rivalry and competition. It's been 1 month since enrollment, and 10 students have dropped out. Weiss sent 7 of them packing, making quite a name for himself. In stealth tracking training, Weiss ranks first, outshining everyone else in the field. His rapid growth is undeniable. Duke Billion, a childhood friend of Shuril, can't believe Weiss' strength. He easily flanks Alan and sets magic threats like it's nothing. Weiss snatches the flag in an instant, earning an astounding 5,700 points and securing first place for the entire year. Duke Billion, still in awe, warns Shuril not to stare at Weiss menacingly. Weiss, unimpressed, tells Duke to pipe down. Weiss reflects on his past, acknowledging the old Weiss who vented negative emotions nastily, leading to his downfall. Now, he lets emotions out fair and square through matches. Shuril Chan, looking concerned, warns Cardasan to not test him in the next competition. The tension is palpable. Yes, I am fine. Carda Vile that YLL be all. I didn't ask if you were fine or not. 10 CARAOL. Shell and THESHE was original expelled story after the next exam. Motivate her best friend to get serious and aim for graduation. Ugging that frustration AC fuel. That how THE side story went. Even I ended up getting her best friend expelled. So basically a after this. Thou GH it was a FAIR match. Chris SCHLECEL expelled. Shall quietly leave THISPLACE without leaving any particular Mar rule CARTA. What are vous pla and N and G to do for Tihi next exam? 12. It's a do VO even have a partner. 7. Tag battle. You know. A Taji battle. 3-3. TH at ANNOVING. Aller Edwa best I of got expelled. Right. Yours how do esi caught you even los absoluto her last all VOUR points in thrashed boom match was a singly match. Ways es here hilarious like. SCRIOSLYI2 HCARTA UC whole ways es to L. For the next exam, want T0 team up with me, 14. LM, WHY wo old you wanna pair up W if someone like me. WSSQN. Besides, you have CYNTHEASA. I mean, I am on the think wep a match at all. Verge of expel SION, and Ure the to PRANKED first YAR. I. HM, what's wrong CARTA? Don't worry about that, then. Are you perhaps concerned about MYFINCE? Since AROUI IFINCE, Shell CYNTHIA wants me to be the best in Tihi Academy. Understand that partnering with another girl is you shall THESFR have just 4 means KNOCSPARO on else to win. DOWNI. No, but that bloodlust just now. Listen CARTA who I don't have the time or energy to waste fee Linji sorry for every student who gets expelled. It's not like I'm teapieing to help you or anything. SHs. Was it just my not there? Imagination. It'd be a real waste but CARTA if Yoel got expelled. YOLR flying magic is truly MP Res CE. So I just even though LGHT it'd be a ski-led mage's waste for someone find it hard like YOL who can to handle. Control it S0 we LL to go unnoticed. I Figuri D teaming up with you while D be the most efficient option. Besides, she was theirs for the next definitely no way I exam. Here just imagined it now. That's BECA, see your skill. Impressive C Ensign 6 ability yo you of 6 OT there. He. Is your perception even sharper than Weiss's dark eye skill? I wonder. To be able to pick up on Ev N faint traces of magic th that even Weiss couldn't detect. Still, who has mastered assassination techniques? Yoyu didn't seem to notice Lilith at TFPH MA6. The upcoming tag battle 15 a PP, errantly a joint exam for all th re sch ul years. INSTAV of with me or CYNTHASMA, who can fight effectively on our AUN even ag AINST second. AN. Thera year St. U pence. AN. TCM ways SSAMA has found. Of some kin. Of winning St. Rati Jai in Pa RT Ni Rin G with you someone with special ability S0 please. Fiel free T0 take on the exam with Weiss Sama. Alright. Il BP AI, Rai and G up with Lilith. We see Weiss and someone else, likely Lilith, making a surprising decision to pair up, clearly driven by the urgency of the upcoming exam. Lilith, surprisingly, starts crying as Weiss explains that their special training with Carta is about to begin. She's confused and emotional. Meanwhile, the panel shifts to a generic scene, likely a title or transition page with text related to the translator and typesetter contributing to the manga. Looking closely at Weiss and another flyer, the disparities in their flying magic skills are painfully obvious. One soars effortlessly while the other struggles to stay aloft. Weiss, despite the difficulty, shows significant improvement in his flying magic, expressing his determination to master it. Carta, a seasoned flyer, dismisses Weiss's efforts, suggesting he doesn't need to learn flying magic since he'll be the one flying. Carta is blunt about Weiss's incompetence. Weiss, undeterred, sees this as a rare opportunity to learn flying magic. He acknowledges the value in knowing how to use it, especially with Carta as his teacher. Weiss apologizes for dragging Carta into this, but assures her that he won't let her get expelled over him. He's determined to do his best on the exam. Weiss's hard work impresses others, and someone offers to help him train in flying magic after the exam. A noble praises Weiss's unexpected diligence and eagerness to learn, which contrasts sharply with his reputation as a lazy noble. The headmaster of the academy is genuinely surprised by Weiss's resilience. He's come back stronger each time after failing, showing immense growth. Darius, an apprentice, is particularly impressed by Weiss's ability to rise from failure, noting how he improved each time. The panel shifts to Lilith and Cynthia, showing their dramatic progress since enrolling. They've grown at an incredible pace. Lilith's emotional state is clear, showing her development and the complex dynamics between her and Weiss. Meanwhile, Weiss's transformation is apparent, with both Lilith and Cynthia's progress highlighting how far he has come. We see Weiss and Lilith pushing themselves to the absolute limit during their training sessions, sparring with real swords instead of wooden ones. No fancy gear, just raw, dangerous combat. That risky, life-or-death training has made them incredibly stronger. They're sweating, panting, and covered in bruises, but their determination is unwavering. Cynthia, appearing out of nowhere, compliments Lilith's impressive performance. You're quite something, Lilith. Lilith, however, is focused on her goal of becoming stronger. Lilith vows to become an equal to Weiss, no longer tagging along but standing by his side as a strong individual. For Weiss-sama, I want to be someone he can rely on. Weiss listens intently, nodding along. You already are strong enough, aren't you? Lilith shakes her head. not nearly as much as Cynthia Sama for now. As they prep for an exam, Duke Billion introduces a bizarre method to determine their partners: rock, paper, scissors. Lilith and Weiss exchange glances, wondering what fate has in store. The two duke it out, with Duke Billion shouting, "Rock, paper, scissors." The tension is palpable as they decide their fates with a simple game. The losers are paired with random strangers for a survival test. All students, get ready to climb Mount Gariel and take the highest points. Weiss and Lilith exchange determined looks. The joint 3-year survival test begins without delay. Students are whisked away to different points across the mountain, their survival skills about to be put to the ultimate test. The tag survival test officially commences. The stakes are high, the challenge is daunting, and the students ready to prove themselves. Meanwhile, a flashback shows Weiss attempting to secure a teaching license at the Noble Academy, but he's interrupted by the current events unfolding on Mount Gariel. As the test begins, the students are scattered across various points on the mountain. Weiss and Lilith find themselves at the base, ready to climb. The joint 3-year survival test officially begins. It's showtime for the students as they face the harsh realities of the mountain. Panic sets in as they encounter unexpected dangers. A sudden cry of alarm disrupts the calm as a student falls from high above. Vivet, a first-year student, is unable to continue. She's injured, flapping her wings in distress, and the group rushes to her aid. We see a group of students discussing how first-years are easy targets, laughing at the trap that caught them. One of them scoffs, stating there's no one special among the first-years. Meanwhile, a second-year student smirks, recalling the name of a supposedly amazing first-year. He's clearly impressed but also dismissive, thinking everyone else is just talk. Looking closely, we see the first-year student who caused a commotion, appearing unbothered by the comments. A first-year student, number 10, is visibly struggling and unable to continue, showing the strain of the day's events. Suddenly, from the sky, a first-year student appears, causing a commotion and drawing attention from others. "Where did you pop out of?" one of them exclaims in disbelief. The new arrival showcases a basic fire spell, packed with high-density magical power, and casts it without incantation. "Sure enough, a second-year student from this academy," someone remarks, recognizing the talent. As the fire spell hits, an unnatural wall materializes, turning the flames to ash, showcasing the newcomer's unique abilities. Just as everyone is stunned, the first-year student changes direction midair, causing more amazement and disbelief. The student does it again, performing maneuvers that seem impossible, leaving everyone in awe. Another unnatural wall appears, this time deflecting the attack effortlessly, further cementing the newcomer's status as a prodigy. The first-year explains his technique, revealing he can create a transparent wall by combining dark, light, and non-elemental magic, calling it the unnatural wall. He adjusts his technique, showing the limitations and potential of his unique magic, impressing others with his tactical acumen. A second-year student, unable to continue, seems surprised by the newcomer's abilities, asking, "What the hell is this?" The second-year student, unable to keep up, acknowledges Weiss, stating, "Sorry, Weissgun, you're too good for me." A flying magic expert intervenes, signaling that another team is approaching. Despite the distraction, she praises the newcomer's performance, impressed by his skill and adaptability. We see Weiss getting a lecture from a mysterious opponent about the inefficiency of his abilities, while the opponent boasts about his own combat skills and the precision of his multipliers. Weiss, known as the top first-year student, is clearly not impressed. Meanwhile, the opponent takes his glasses off, revealing a significant boost in combat ability, boasting a 3.1415926535 multiplier, which catches Weiss off guard. Weiss starts to feel a strange drain on his strength, hinting at a mysterious skill being used against him. The tension is palpable as Weiss struggles to understand what's happening. A second-year student, seemingly unable to continue, is noted as student number 96, likely incapacitated by the mysterious magic. This highlights the severity of the situation. A random student, likely a second year, is shown to be unable to continue the fight, adding to the chaos and confusion. A group of students, led by a character named Carta, continues to pick off careless upperclassmen, racking up points and causing more disruption. Weiss greets a student named Shura, acknowledging their presence as the chaos around them escalates. Shura seems confused and disoriented, trying to make sense of the ongoing chaos and the sudden change in power dynamics. The panel transitions to a page of text, likely a translation note or chapter summary, breaking the narrative flow momentarily. Another first-year student, identified as student number 21, is shown unable to continue the fight, emphasizing the widespread impact of the mysterious opponent's abilities. Weiss observes that second and third-year students have stopped showing up, realizing the danger posed by the strong opponent and the strategic retreat. The repetition here highlights the growing fear among the students as the mysterious opponent's reputation spreads. A first-year student, likely Miphis, reflects on the retreat of higher-year students, attributing it to the bird announcements about knocked-out students and the realization of a powerful opponent. Weiss decides to focus on hunting second and third-year students, acknowledging the strategic advantage of teaming up with Carta due to her unique flying magic. Weiss mentions Carta's extraordinary decision-making abilities and her mastery of flying magic. Even veterans struggle to control, further underlining her importance to the team. We see a third-year student pointing out that the magic users hiding are too good at concealing their abilities, suggesting there's a third-year student nearby that they need to be wary of. Meanwhile, the flying instructor is excitedly explaining the advantages of their strategy, noting that with their flying magic, they can scout wide areas and launch surprise attacks from above, making it hard for enemies to detect them. Lilith chimes in with a sly grin, saying that a surprise attack from a blind spot can almost always one-shot anyone who isn't expecting it, adding some dark humor to the mix. Looking closely, Weiss nervously asks how much time they have left, acknowledging that Milk Sensei's constant nagging makes sense now. He advises the group to take no more risks, but his classmates are clearly not buying it. Weiss explains the point system and the privileges that come with different rankings, from luxurious private rooms to skipping grades and graduating early. He's trying to sound casual, but his eyes clearly show he's after that S rank. Weiss reveals his ambitious goal of reaching S rank, much to his classmates' shock. He's aiming to do this by hunting down upperclassmen, which is a bold move that gets everyone's attention. Weiss emphasizes his ultimate goal again, this time mentioning the all-can-eat premium fruits that come with a B-rank private room. His classmates are clearly stunned by his obsession with food. Flashback to a year ago, showing Weiss during Spartan training. He reminisces about how his only joy was dessert after meals, but he gradually lost his sense of taste for fruit. Weiss recounts how a super premium fruit, the Milo melon, helped him regain his sense of taste. He looks back on the experience with a nostalgic smile, hinting at its significance. Weiss plans to earn points by hunting upperclassmen during the exam to get the luxurious B-rank room and its all-can-eat fruits. His classmates, despite their reluctance, agree to help him. His classmates realize Weiss' unusual motivation for the exam was food-related. They look at each other, clearly surprised by his revelation. Weiss thinks about his family, who grow Milo melons. He wonders if telling Weiss about his family's farm would make him visit, showing a hint of vulnerability. This panel is a mess of random text, skipped entirely. The group spots a monster number 6000, and Weiss is visibly impressed by its power, clearly thinking it's impossible to beat. In a sudden turn of events, Weiss' classmates urge him to get out of there, concerned about the danger they're in. Weiss looks back, clearly thinking they need to handle this monster. Suddenly, the tension escalates as Weiss charges head-on towards his foes, leaving everyone in the room questioning his sanity. A familiar voice cuts through the air. "You must be Weiss Vincent, the rumored prodigy." The speaker, Cynthia, is clearly intrigued. Cynthia continues, "It's an honor to meet you. Every student dreams of receiving an invitation from Weiss, and I'm delighted to finally have the chance." Weiss' thoughts reveal his respect for Cynthia, Eva Everil, the strongest student in this academy, a true cheater who's a game-breaking bug. She grew bored of the academy and decided to leave, but she's back now. Weiss' determination is evident as he declares, "After this exam, I'll fight her myself. I have everything left in me to face this final challenge." Cynthia's face tightens with resolve. "Let's do this." As the fight begins, Alan speaks, "Please don't take this personally. You're the only one left, and if we can defeat you, Weiss will finally acknowledge us." The moment Alan speaks, it's clear the stakes are high. The panel ends with an author's note, but the action continues. Cynthia smirks, "The exam is over now. I forced you to use magic and now time's up." Eva Evil, with dark eyes, uses every card she has in hand, deploying a dark heal and an absolute barrier. Cynthia's frustration is palpable. "Nothing worked. I thought I'd quit after this exam, but now I'm staying to see it through." Cynthia's resolve hardens. "I'll stick around and see this through to the end." The exam concludes, and the students are sent back to the academy with a sense of relief. The narrator's voice breaks the tension. "I made a major change to the scenario, and once again, Eva avoided expulsion." We see Cynthia and Lilith standing there, defeated, and the question hangs in the air. Who on earth could have done this to them? Cynthia, visibly frustrated and disappointed, apologizes to Lilith. "I got so caught up in thinking I had grown stronger, and look at the result. I'm the one who turned weak and dragged you into this mess." Lilith, clearly upset by the situation, looks at Cynthia with a mix of disappointment and determination. "I wanted to win against Alan." The scene pauses, highlighting the tension between Cynthia and Lilith. Meanwhile, a notice board announces the conclusion of the 3-year joint tag exam, signaling the return to normal academy life. After the exam, Weiss is promoted to B rank, leading to a luxurious lifestyle for a while. But the constant competition against lower-ranked students starts to feel unsatisfying. Suddenly, a guest instructor named Rattle is introduced, causing a stir among the students, especially Weiss. The panel shifts to an intermission note, reminding us that this is a commission chapter and the continuity isn't guaranteed. The 3rd-year tag team survival event begins, with anticipation building among the students. A student, Gua, looks worried and asks another student what's wrong. Vivid and Ariel are sent back to the Noble Magic Academy, out of combat, highlighting the disparity between upper and lower classes. A senior student mocks the underclassmen for falling for a simple trap, dismissing them as too easy to outsmart. A student discusses a rumor about a new amazing enrollment, skeptical but intrigued, especially regarding a name that sounds familiar, Weiss Vincent. The scene transitions, with the tension palpable as students speculate about the mysterious new arrival. The panel ends with a declaration of another student being out of combat, signaling the ongoing nature of the event. The skies are asking deep questions, but our boy Weiss isn't here to chat. He's more focused on burning things to the ground. Meanwhile, Weiss, upperclassman rival, is impressed by Weiss's unexpected fire spell, thinking that upperclassman is actually strong. Weiss pulls a move straight out of a magician's playbook, conjuring an unnatural wall to shield himself from incoming attacks. Talk about showing off. The opponent is left dumbfounded, wondering what the heck just happened. The crowd is amazed as Weiss pulls off an unexpected midair maneuver, proving he's no ordinary student. A flurry of attacks continues, with Weiss dodging and countering with his newly mastered barrier technique. Weiss explains his new trick, a mix of dark and light magic, calling it Unnatural Wall, showing off his inventive magic skills. I'm glad I went through with the flying lessons, Weiss thinks, now with a wider range of tactics. He's not holding back. Another opponent appears, baffled by Weiss' sudden shift in tactics and the mysterious barrier. An upperclassman steps in, calling a ceasefire and apologizing to Weiss for the commotion. Weiss explains the situation to his fellow student, Carta, admitting he didn't notice another group approaching and had to act quickly. Carta, impressed, asks about Weiss's defensive magic, wondering if it's a high-performance but inefficient technique. Weiss smirks, revealing a surprising fact. Removing his glasses boosts his combat abilities by 3.14 times. Talk about a secret weapon. A mysterious figure appears, casting a dark healing spell, adding another layer of complexity to the battle. The new arrival is taken aback by the sheer strength and information displayed by Weiss, realizing research is key in these battles. Upperclassman Archimedes, known for his high points in combat, steps out of the scene, leaving Weiss and the others to deal with the tension. Cardai, one of Weiss' fellow students, spurs his team on, declaring they'll use the seniors' lack of focus to steal all their points. The rest of the group is in full agreement. Shirley, another classmate, greets everyone warmly, her enthusiasm seemingly unaffected by the ongoing drama. Cynthia, one of the upperclassmen, challenges Weiss and his group to a match, confident in her abilities and the game's potential for growth. A random, out-of-place advertisement for manga translation services disrupts the flow, but we'll ignore it for now. Weiss, looking puzzled, is suddenly confronted by a new instructor, Milk Avitas, who's taken over his combat training. Milk Avitas, a new substitute instructor, announces her arrival and immediately starts the training, dismissing any questions from the students. Weiss, confused and frustrated, demands to know why Milk Avitas is here, questioning her authority with fiery eyes. Milk Avitas silences Weiss with an icy glare, showing no tolerance for pointless questions, leaving everyone wondering about her true motives. The Academy's head instructor, Chloe, explains the shortage of instructors and the need for additional training, revealing the chaos leading to Milk Avitas' arrival. Weiss, caught off guard, realizes that Milk Avitas knows something about him that nobody else should, causing him to panic internally. Milk Avitas, seemingly unimpressed, orders Weiss to start push-ups, noting that he's improved somewhat over the past few months, but the tone is anything but supportive. Weiss, for once, listens to Milk Avitas, causing a mix of surprise and confusion among his classmates, who are used to his defiance. A fellow student, sarcastically noting the lack of effort during their run, reveals the harsh reality of the Academy's training regime. Weiss, in a shocking display of determination, continues his push-ups while scaling the mountain, turning what was already a brutal training session into pure hell. We see Weiss causing quite the stir by suddenly popping up with a pool in the middle of the desert, leaving everyone wondering what he's up to this time. Meanwhile, the other students are less than thrilled, muttering curses under their breath, as Weiss continues to dazzle with his antics. In a bizarre twist, an ad for manga translation services pops up, completely breaking the immersion, reminding us we're not in the real world anymore. A random panel of artwork and dialogue appears, seemingly unrelated to the main narrative, but it just adds to the chaotic vibe. Weiss' training session is back on, and the instructor is impressed by his godlike technique, showing off his balance and agility. The other students can't help but be jealous as Weiss effortlessly moves them up and down with his technique, proving he's in a league of his own. One student in particular is so blown away he practically worships Weiss, declaring him the best and thanking him profusely, much to the amusement of the rest. Weiss' partner, seemingly always lagging behind, finally completes the training and breathes a sigh of relief, muttering something about sickeningly repetitive routines. After this, Weiss' water training is put on hold as the instructor loses patience with the students' antics, moving on to something less chaotic. Carta, ever the observer, notices Cynthia eating alone and decides to take this opportunity to get closer to Weiss, hoping to avoid being expelled again. Weiss, ever the savior, helps Carta avoid expulsion, but she's not exactly grateful, eyeing him suspiciously as usual. Weiss, in his usual blunt manner, calls Carta out for being a parasite, reminding her she can't survive without his help, much to Carta's annoyance. Carta, trying to fit in, awkwardly invites Cynthia to eat with them, thinking she's found a new ally, but Weiss isn't buying it. Impressed by Weiss's recent tag team exam performance, Carta finally acknowledges his strength, admitting they defeated 24 students together, including second and third years. Despite her newfound respect, Carta remains skeptical, insisting Weiss couldn't have done it alone, highlighting the importance of his unique abilities and teamwork. Our boy Weiss finally breaks down and confronts the one person he's been avoiding for ages, trying to hash out what's been bugging him for so long. Meanwhile, Lilith is oblivious to the drama, wondering where Weiss has disappeared to and why their pot au feu is so cold. She's ready to dig in, but there's no Weiss in sight. Carta, looking smug and healed from her injuries, reveals that she took down some bullies during an exam. Thanks to her training with Weiss, Carta's skills are sharp, and she's ready to take names. Skipping this panel, since it's an advertisement for manga translation services. Weiss is determined to prove his worth to himself and everyone back home. He's ready to show them that he's got what it takes to stand on his own 2 feet. We see Weiss setting his sights high, eyeing the prestigious Noble Academy where he can earn the title and authority of a noble. He's not just dreaming, he's making a plan. The perks of graduating from Noble Academy are alluring: dungeons to explore, countries to travel, and a life filled with adventure and freedom. Weiss is determined to make it happen. In other words, Weiss has decided to use his own hands to fight for his family and hometown. It's time to put theory into practice. Training with the help of Master Darius and Shirley, Weiss is prepared for the entrance exam. He's ready to face whatever comes his way. But then reality hits. Weiss' exam results are a disaster, but he still passes. He's haunted by Weiss Vincent, the terrifyingly strong first year who ranks first. The joy of passing is short-lived. Weiss is determined to prove himself, but he's constantly at the mercy of the point system that ranks him against the rest. Weiss has had enough. He refuses to live a life where everything is taken from him. He wants to fight Weiss for real, to see if he's worthy of recognition at the top. With every ounce of determination, Weiss vows to keep winning, to catch up to Weiss and finally defeat him. This time, he's not backing down. Skipping this panel as it contains an unclear image or text. Lilith, now aware of the stakes, is disappointed in Weiss. She expected more from him, but he's still struggling to find his footing. You see, this panel is a bizarre interruption, filled with a weird advertising pitch for manga translations. It's like diving into a story and suddenly being hit with a commercial. Meanwhile, Weiss is having a heated moment with someone, clearly not in the mood to deal with anyone's crap. Over here, a random bystander is speculating on what Weiss and the other person were arguing about. It's like they're eavesdropping on a juicy drama. Weiss doesn't look amused by the attention, all tight-lipped and brooding. Our boy Weiss seems to be in one of his "I don't care" moods. Lilith, Weiss's constant companion, is observing him closely. She's trying to understand what's going on in his head, but Weiss is exactly the most transparent person. Lilith, ever the supportive one, is trying to figure out why Weiss isn't getting along with Alan. She's worried about Weiss, but also annoyed at Alan's attitude. Lilith is explaining a lesson from history class, discussing the slave system and its complexities. It's clear she's trying to make sense of a society built on such harsh realities. Lilith continues her argument, claiming that the slave system isn't inherently evil. She's trying to understand the nuances of a messed-up world. Lilith's frustration with Alan's idealism is palpable. She's got a point, but it's clear she's clashing with his beliefs about change and social justice. Lilith's tirade against Alan's simplistic views on conflict and slavery is a fiery mix of frustration and realism. She's not one for sugarcoating. Lilith's comments seem to have gotten to Weiss, but she's questioning why his emotions spiked so hard during their encounter. Weiss looks conflicted, his anger more about his own feelings than about Alan specifically. It's like the more he tries to figure things out, the more confused he gets. Lilith's advice to Weiss is blunt and practical. She's trying to prepare him for the harsh realities of adult life, but our boy Weiss looks like he's about to face some serious challenges. Another interruption, this time a rehash of the earlier ad for manga translations. It's like a bizarre recurring dream. The panel shows a combat uniform for the Noble Academy, highlighting its magical protection features. It's a mix of cool tech and the oppressive reality of a life in service. We see the Noble Magic Academy introducing a new survival exercise, a serious game where students can fight each other safely thanks to magical uniforms. However, the text warns of monsters where these uniforms fall short. Meanwhile, the instructor announces tomorrow's survival exercise in the northern Garial Mountains, home to dangerous monsters, and mentions grades and even expulsion are on the line. Looking closely, the instructor informs students that they can withdraw, but those prepared should sign up. Some students are hesitant, while others are determined. When one student suggests everyone withdraw, another student confidently declares they won't, adding a bit of sass to the mix. The instructor, perplexed by the sudden change in mood, asks what's with this guy, only to express gratitude when everyone decides to participate. The instructor then declares, "The death game starts now," setting the stage for a high-stakes survival challenge. The instructor explains the game's duration, rules, and the importance of forming pairs to survive in the forest teeming with unspecified numbers of monsters. The instructor reminds students that even the weather can be unpredictable, making survival even harder, especially in a blizzard. The instructor calls out students for their pairs, emphasizing survival as the top priority and awarding points for defeating monsters. Cynthia is told to remove her earrings, just as Chloe-sensei took off her glasses to prevent frostbite, adding a quirky detail. The instructor starts calling out the names of the pairs, setting the stage for the intense survival challenge ahead. A sudden ad for manga translation services interrupts the serious tone, offering affordable rates and fast translations. We see a preview of the upcoming 3-day training exercise in the northern mountain Garial, setting expectations for a dangerous and challenging event. Weiss suddenly enters the scene, heading straight for the group of students preparing for the survival exercise. Weiss' presence is acknowledged by another character, who seems surprised or concerned by his arrival. The panel opens with Weiss standing alone, his mind racing with thoughts, completely ignoring the static text around him. Meanwhile, Lilith approaches, her expression one of concern, noticing Weiss's absence of focus. Looking closely, we see Lilith's eyes narrow as she considers Weiss's current state, wondering what's got him so distracted. Weiss finally looks up, acknowledging Lilith's presence with a slight nod, his usual lazy demeanor replaced by a focused intensity. The pair are then seen receiving a point award from an unseen judge, with Weiss's name mentioned specifically for his pairing with Duke, a muscle-bound fighter. The text reveals that Weiss is paired with Duke, a student who excels in body enhancement magic, for this survival test. Weiss, with a mix of sarcasm and disbelief, points out the irony of being paired with a muscle-bound student, calling him a jackpot in the context of their survival scenario. Lilith, exasperated, suggests taking a break, complaining that they haven't eaten all day. She questions the logic of their current survival test. Weiss, undeterred, continues their rigorous training, stating that they will hunt monsters for 3 days straight without sleep or rest. The panel then shifts to an advertisement for manga translation services, featuring a character who seems unimpressed by the interruption. Lilith, hearing Weiss's voice, flinches slightly, her footsteps so quiet that Weiss notices and comments on them. The final panel repeats the manga translation ad, emphasizing its presence as a continuous but unnoticed backdrop in this intense survival scenario.